Hey everybody, it's Mickey. Welcome back. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Today, in our prosperity lesson, what I'm going to talk about is truth and what what that means to us as we go through kind of the everyday craziness of our life. Because truth is, it is really debatable. And when you think about truth, most of you are actually looking for truth mixed with wisdom because your value, the value that you're trying to get to is integrity. So if you've picked integrity as your value, you're going to have a little wrestling match with the word truth. And it is going to be so helpful for you to understand what something as wide as the word truth is, because we often see truth mixed with righteousness. And that's the part of truth that we don't need exercised. What we do need is the parts of truth that are filled with integrity, that are impartial, that are practical, that are dependable, that these are keystone items. We have a soundbite society, and that soundbite society actually takes very little of its effort to really look for what I call keystone knowledge, right? That deeper knowledge that we only get from reviewing many, many, many things and then cultivating all of that into some sort of wisdom. And that wisdom means that I've got to align my thoughts, my actions, my learning, my experiences, and I've got to kind of craft that into some sort of wisdom. And when we are sharing truth, we are sharing based on some foundation that we are recognizing, that we have put an effort in. And so a lot of times when I'm speaking the truth for prosperity, that I'm doing that based on a foundation of knowledge. So as you're putting truth together, uh, you also see it illuminated in your life. So I'll give you an example. My friend Kathy and I were in the office, and we had been just doing a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, let's go down to the soda machine. Let's have a soda and clear our head and come back in and think about what's there. And as we were putting money, we were waiting in line. That suddenly there was like this whole line for the soda pop machine. And so we're just sitting there, and the guy that's about to put his money into the thing, he just happens to look over and he sees me. And he goes, and he pulls his money back out. And he goes, "Oh my gosh, Mickey Mikeworth, like, I can't believe you're here." Now, I could tell you that I did not know that man from any, like, I didn't know who that was. I'm like, how do you even know my name? It was weird. And you could tell that we were startled. And I said, "Oh my gosh." Well, he's like, please come, go ahead of me. You changed my life forever. And you can tell he's like looking for his phone. And I said, "Oh, well, that is so nice." And he's like, "Wait, he's like, let me even, I will buy your pop." And I'm like, how do we, and my friend is like, "How do you know her? What is going on?" And he said, "You sat with me 2 years ago and you told me how to get custody of my son back from my mother, from my partner who was a drug addict." He goes, "I went and got clean. You told me to get clean. You told me to make sure I could prove that I was clean, you gave me just all of this advice, and you sat down and you wrote out the list for me. And you told me emphatically that I could get custody of my son. Now, and you told me that it would take a long time, but it was worth it. You told me where to go. You wrote down the phone numbers and the people, and you put me in charge of this fathering group and with the leader of that, and that they would hold my hand." He goes, "And you even called that leader, and I showed up. You were so certain that I could do it that it changed my life. And I have custody of my son. And that we have pajama parties now, and it just changed my life. It made it so I could stay clean, and he just kept going on. And boy, was I excited. And I thought, wow, what a nice person to do all of that. I couldn't have remembered that from anywhere. I didn't remember that person or that conversation of the thousands of people I had met. But what I did do, which is very common for me, is when somebody is telling me what is their situation, that I will very calmly listen to all of it. Sometimes I'll take notes and I'll let them know, hey, I'm listening to you. I'm writing down notes so I don't forget anything that you say. So just tell me everything and I will just sit here and write. And that's a very common way for me to work in the world is tell me everything. I'm going to make some notes and then I'm going to look inside my brain and to see if there is something in my mind that can be helpful for you. And then even if you want my help and see if you even want my help. And that very simple way of getting through the world of going, is there one, listen first, listen, take notes to what that other person is saying. And part of that is so that I can repeat back to them, but part of that is so that I can understand what I'm misinterpreting. And then, is there anything out of my knowledge, out of my wisdom, out of my experiences, out of my contacts? Most people need my contacts because I have met tens of thousands of people across this planet. And who can they call and how can they get in the door? Because they don't know how to get there. This young man wanted his boy. That's all he wanted. He just wanted his boy. And that to me is a noble cause. That is a noble cause to get clean and to parent. And by the way, we have connected this whole time where I'm like, oh my gosh, well let's, let me see that. And this guy brought out his phone. He's showing pictures of him and his boy. And they were just having this life. But the reason that could happen was that I could be impartial, that I could be practical. I didn't need to judge that other person. I didn't need to take on fear, but I had to be someone who had a keystone amount of knowledge, that I didn't just have surface knowledge, that I could go, here's the deeper conversation. So, one, that somebody had just said to him, you got to talk to Miss Mickey. And and apparently, and he was correct. I mean, I was teaching a class. He was working in the back kitchen, and the person in the kitchen said, "You know what, man? Miss Mickey's in that classroom. You need to go sit in that classroom. I'll do this. You go do that." Because I had already helped that person in the kitchen. And when you are someone that walks in truth, and what I mean by that is integrity. When you are practical, impartial, dependable, that you have a keystone of knowledge, that you are willing to share, not just a catchphrase, then you have this deeper relationship. You have a deeper confidence in what you're saying. So when I said to him, I am sure that you can do this. This is absolutely within your rights. These are the tricky bits. I had to have had a deeper knowledge of how a single father who has a terrible record, he had been an addict since he was a teenager. He has a felony. He has jail time. And he has a lot of things that made it really easy for his previous partner, who was also an addict, to say, oh, he's the problem. Well, you got to combat that. And you can combat that by doing these things. So I had to know a deeper knowledge to be able to help him. And a lot of people didn't have deeper knowledge because they hadn't worked with thousands of people. They hadn't seen what went through. But he wasn't the first father that I knew. that really should be raising his children. That there are many fathers who would be a much better parent than a parent that is an addict, who's checked out, who's not going to be present, right? So that father needed to raise that child, and that child needed to be raised by his father. So it was easy for me to align to that, to go, hey, here's all the stuff. Let me write it down because there's too much here for you to remember. Here is the name. Here is my name. Here is what you have to do. So he had, the reason he knew my name is because he had a piece of paper that had all the stuff on it that he had to look at every single day. And it took him 2 years to get custody of that boy. So from 2.5 to age 5, that child had to wait, but he had to do all these things to gain custody, to show the court. And what worked in his favor is that his previous partner was still an addict. So she ended up in jail. And he had done all this work. So the court was instant to give him that space because he had proven through um, through visitations that were monitored, through a whole process that he was willing to stick through. But he could remember my name because I wrote it on that piece of paper. I wrote every phone number that he could call. That, this is the Center for Fathering. These are the people you have to know. Call this person. Tell them that you know me. Tell them that I sent you, and they will wrap their arms around you. So I had to do my work. I had to do my work as an individual to be able to know people, to be able to find out what they're doing, to be able to put my hand in first. So when you think about your truth and the things that you believe in, don't go to the righteousness, right? This is not being like men, blah, blah, blah. No, no, we're not there. That's not the truth. That when you're looking at prosperity mindset, the truth that you have to focus on is your own. And you have to be truthful with yourself when you don't know stuff. You have to be truthful that you've just been nibbling on all the media and counting it as knowledge. You haven't actually read the books. You haven't actually deciphered what they have to say. There are many people where I go, look, you're reading all this podcast. You're writing nothing down. How are you going to use that again? You're just consuming. You're not actually looking for a truth or wisdom that you can use again. If you're going to invest 10 hours a week into a podcast and write nothing down, you've gained nothing except using your time and then lying to yourself that it's all really this wonderful knowledge. It's not knowledge you can access again. So it's not actually wisdom. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a deeper foundation of knowledge. And that, as you go through this prosperity mindset, you have to be committed to your own knowledge because that is the truth. That is where you will get to. So when you are thinking about how do you build prosperity mindset, you want to think about wisdom because truth is about integrity. And integrity has to have a foundation to stand on, a foundation of reasoning. And that foundation of reasoning means that you also have to have a deeper form of confidence. And that confidence comes from this kind of factual inside track. So that young man had factual inside track that they could use in my wisdom. And he had to do all the work. And I said to him, I said, gosh, well, I'm so glad that happened for you. I'm so glad that is the truth of where your life went. You're so lucky. And I said to him, you're the luckiest man I've met all day. And he said, I am lucky. He said, you made that luck happen. I wrote down that stuff for you, but you did all the work. And he goes, I couldn't have done that work had you not been so sure that I could do it, that you were so sure that it was a long road, that you were so sure that you knew all the sticky bits, and they were all sticky bits, but I couldn't have done it. And I said, wow, this is a lot that happened. I said, did we sit for a long time? Like, I don't remember this in any way. And he goes, no, you got that. You had to go. You just gave it all to me in like 15 minutes. Those are 15 minutes of my life that changed the course of those two people's lives forever. So when you're thinking about your own life and the way that you are doing things, now I've gotten to watch that kid. Now, many years has passed since that moment. And I've gotten to watch them on Facebook grow up. And they send me a note every Thanksgiving. They send me pictures of them. I get their Halloween costumes. They send me pictures on Facebook every single year. And to me, that is beautiful. But we don't know. We don't know what it's going to lead to. We don't know what somebody's going to say, go talk to Miss Mickey. And they're going to do that for you because you have a truth. And that truth is going to be the way that you're going to come through the world. And that is how you're going to be in a shared common existence. And in order to have that, you have to come back. You got to step back a little bit and really understand what is your foundation of reasoning. And we talk about that as a pixel, but this is very different. That this is really saying, what is the truth of you? What is the impartial, practical, dependable keystone of knowledge that you are using as your foundation? And you should question it. You should question it. And that's why moving into a prosperity mindset takes years and years. That it's not like it's a light you can turn on. It is a body of work that you are going to invite into your life daily. That's why it's a daily practice. That's why you go into mindful isolation. That's why you have to do the physical written work. No one who you see who is really prosperous and really thinks about what they have to say, nobody got there without really carefully choosing what is the body of knowledge that they are using as their foundation of reasoning. And so when you are looking for an assignment out of today, it is that. It is to say, what is my foundation of reasoning? What is it that I've been taught, that I have learned, that I have integrated? What is my foundation of reasoning? And recognize what that is. And recognize, is that impartial? Is that practical knowledge? Is that dependable? Can you be those things? Can you act in truth? Can you be in truth? Can you align with truth? What is the truth that you are sharing? What is the truth that you are sharing? And the truth that I was sharing with that young man at the soda pop machine was, oh, totally, you can get this done. It's hard. You're going to have to be dedicated. You're going to have to do it. But here's all the parts. And I could do that because I had a deeper confidence. And I had a deeper confidence because I had a working knowledge that I had honed over many years. Remember, I've been in these classrooms now for 25 years. I'd been teaching class longer than this man had been alive. So I had a deeper body of wisdom. And that is the truth. When you start to look at your life and all that you have been through, it was easy for me to share because I've been paying attention. I've been doing the things. So as you move forward in your prosperity mindset, the piece I am really encouraging you for is do the deeper work. Don't you don't have to do it all in one day. You don't have to go, hide in some hostel for 5 days and go, oh, I'm going to get in touch with my truth. No, but you do need to really recognize that this is daily work, that this is something that's worth doing, and that You don't need to be you don't need to go to this righteousness place of truth. You need to come back into the truth of you, your life, your experience, your integrity, and really decide what your foundation is. And that is a powerful place to be. So, one, thank you for showing up. Thank you for even considering spending this few minutes with me. And thank you for taking a breath and thinking about who you really are. What is the truth of the most important matter of your life? And that is the truth of who you are. And what is the foundation that makes you? So that part makes it really easy for you to not put on a mask and not have to be somebody else. When you understand the foundation of who you are, it makes it really easy to be you. And that is the most beautiful thing I can think of. So with that, thank you for showing up. If I can't see you live in class, I'd like to see you here. So keep joining, keep being here, and thanks.